Welcome back to my channel, and I hope you enjoy this story I wrote. The flickering candlelight cast long, dancing shadows across the cluttered desk, illuminating the bewildered face of Sherlock Holmes. One moment, he'd been examining a rather peculiar smudge of crimson mud on a Persian slipper in his familiar Baker Street lodgings. The next, a dizzying vortex of emerald light had swallowed him whole, depositing him rather unceremoniously onto a cobblestone street that smelled faintly of sulfur and something akin to burnt sugar.
Good heavens,
Holmes muttered, adjusting his deerstalker, which felt distinctly out of place amidst the pointed rooftops and glowing flora. Gone were the familiar sounds of hansom cabs, replaced by the chirping of iridescent insects and the distant roar of something decidedly non-terrestrial. It wasn't long before he encountered the local constabulary, a rather stout fellow with pointed ears and a uniform that seemed to defy the laws of gravity. Their attempts at questioning him were hampered by the fact that they spoke in melodic clicks and whistles. Holmes, ever the keen observer, managed to glean that a series of rather perplexing disappearances were plaguing the city of Eldoria, and the local magic users were stumped. Apparently, in this world, problems weren't solved with astute observation and deductive reasoning, but with the flick of a wand and a muttered incantation. The results, Holmes noted with a raised eyebrow, seemed rather hit or miss. Days turned into weeks. Holmes, with his uncanny ability to notice the seemingly insignificant, found himself surprisingly adept at navigating this bizarre new reality. He learned to decipher the local tongue, discovered that the glowing flora could be rather informative if properly observed, and even developed a rudimentary understanding of the local magic, which, he noted with a touch of disdain, often lacked the elegant precision of a well-reasoned deduction. One particularly frustrating case involved the vanishing of the high elf elderberry's prized collection of enchanted thimbles. The local mages had conjured tracking spells and scrying pools, all to no avail. Holmes, examining the elderberry's meticulously organized study, noticed a faint shimmer on the windowsill and a single, almost invisible scale. His conclusion, much to the bewilderment of the magical investigators, involved a particularly ambitious winged lizard with a penchant for shiny objects and a rather unfortunate sneezing habit. It was during his investigation of a series of spontaneously combusting garden gnomes, a truly baffling affair, that Holmes encountered another displaced soul. In a workshop overflowing with crackling energy, strange contraptions whirring and sparking, stood a man with wild, untamed hair and eyes that held the spark of 1,000 lightning storms.
Remarkable, simply remarkable. Though I confess the etheric conduits are proving recalcitrant.
you wouldn't happen to be experiencing a distinct lack of readily available copper wiring, would you?
Indeed. And the local enchanters seem to think I'm mad when I speak of harnessing the very fabric of existence through controlled electromagnetic induction.
My dear fellow, I believe we have much to discuss. My name is Sherlock Holmes, and I find myself in similarly displaced circumstances.
Nikola Tesla. A pleasure, though a rather perplexing one.
Tesla, it turned out, had arrived in this world some years prior. He'd initially tried to replicate his technological marvels, only to find the local materials uncooperative. However, this world's inherent magical energies had ignited a new avenue of his genius. He'd learned to channel and manipulate these forces, creating devices that blended arcane principles with his scientific intuition. His workshop was a testament to this fusion. Glowing crystals powered intricate clockwork mechanisms, and enchanted runes amplified the power of his inventions. Together, Holmes's deductive prowess and Tesla's electrifying, literally, at times, ingenuity proved to be a formidable combination. Holmes could unravel the most perplexing magical mysteries by applying logic and observation, while Tesla could devise ingenious solutions using his unique blend of science and sorcery. The spontaneously combusting gnomes, for instance, turned out to be the work of a disgruntled gnome illusionist using volatile magical polymers, a theory Holmes deduced from a faint chemical residue, and Tesla confirmed by building a device that could detect magical instability. Their reputation grew. The locals, initially wary of the strange newcomers, began to seek their aid. They solved the mystery of the Weeping Willows, a case involving a lovesick water sprite and a particularly potent enchantment. Uncovered a conspiracy involving stolen dreamweavers, and even managed to track down a thief who could turn invisible. This last feat was accomplished by Tesla's invention of enchanted goggles that could detect magical distortions in the light spectrum. But a darker shadow loomed over Eldoria. Whispers of a powerful demon lord named Diablo, who sought to plunge the world into eternal night, began to circulate. The local magic users, despite their considerable power, were terrified. Diablo's magic was ancient and formidable, and their traditional spells seemed to have little effect. Holmes and Tesla knew they had to act. Holmes, through meticulous research of ancient texts, translated with Tesla's magically enhanced linguistic device, pieced together Diablo's weaknesses, a vulnerability to pure, focused energy, and a peculiar aversion to logical paradoxes. Tesla, meanwhile, began working on a device of unprecedented power, a fusion of arcane energies and scientific principles that he hoped could disrupt Diablo's dark magic. The final confrontation took place in Diablo's obsidian fortress, a place that seemed to defy the very laws of physics. Diablo, a hulking figure, wreathed in shadow and flame, mocked their efforts.
Mortals! You dare to stand against the might of Diablo?
Your methods, while undeniably dramatic, lack a certain elegance. For instance, if every shadow you cast creates another, equally real shadow, does the original shadow cease to exist, or does it merely become a shadow of a shadow ad infinitum?
What nonsense is this?
The device unleashed a beam of pure, focused energy that struck Diablo, causing him to roar in pain and his shadowy form to flicker. The combination of Holmes's logical paradoxes and Tesla's magical science disrupted Diablo's power, weakening him significantly. S3. Media Group. Demon or shadowy figure looking weakened. Detective solving a complex problem. Holmes battling a demonic entity. His stock distributed equally. While the detective tangles your demonic logic circuits, allow me to introduce you to a little something I call the paradoxical energy emitter. The ensuing battle was a chaotic blend of magical spells, scientific contraptions, and Holmes's surprisingly effective use of a magically enhanced walking stick. Finally, with a combined effort, they managed to overload Diablo with a surge of paradoxical energy, causing him to dissolve into a cloud of harmless smoke. With Diablo vanquished, a new era dawned for Eldoria. Inspired by Tesla's ingenuity and Holmes's logical approach, the people began to embrace a fusion of magic and science. Tesla helped establish academies where both arcane arts and scientific principles were taught, leading to a blossoming of innovation. Flying carriages powered by enchanted crystals became commonplace, and communication was revolutionized by magically amplified telegraphs. One evening, as Holmes and Tesla sat in their shared Eldorian residence, A comfortable blend of Victorian study and futuristic laboratory, another emerald vortex appeared. This time, it solidified to reveal a familiar figure, a slightly disheveled John Watson, looking utterly bewildered.
Holmes, by Jove, Holmes, where have you been? The yard's been in an uproar, and what in heaven's name is that glowing teapot?
Ah, Watson, my dear fellow, you wouldn't believe the last few years. It appears our world has remained stubbornly terrestrial. However, allow me to introduce you to a world of unimaginable possibilities, where logic and magic dance hand in hand, and where a good deduction is only made better with a well-placed enchantment.
Welcome to the future, my dear Watson. Though in this future, the future is now, and slightly more sparkly.
The world they had been summoned to was saved, not just by magic, but by the unique synergy of deduction, scientific genius, and a healthy dose of interdimensional camaraderie. And as for the world they left behind, perhaps one day, a particularly observant Scotland Yard inspector would stumble upon a strange, glowing device and wonder just what sort of peculiar business Sherlock Holmes had truly been involved in. Thank you for watching to the end. Have a beautiful day, and stay curious and full of imagination, my friends. And I promise, the day I am monetized on YouTube, I will make my videos more personal and show you who I truly am.